All right. Well, since you grew up right, before the birth of hip hop, and you got to see it grow while you were growing up, there's been a debate in hip hop about how much Latinos contributed to the creation of hip hop, right? Fat Joe, he got some backlash a few years ago saying it was 50-50. What do you remember seeing?
I mean, 50-50 as far as what creativity. I mean, it was different elements of hip hop. Like when it came to the b-boys and the graffiti, it was predominantly Latino. Yeah, there was black graffiti artists and black breakdancers, but it was predominantly what it was Latino. When it came to like the rapping and the DJing, it was predominantly black, but there was also the Latin DJs. It was also Latin rappers. It's. I mean, you had a Spanish brother in the Cold Crush, and there's different brothers that was there from the beginning. Latinos that's been there from the beginning. So for somebody to turn around again, it's always segregating. Oh, this and that. Bro, I was born in the Bronx. At the end of the day, the Bronx was a mixture of different cultures, of Caribbean music, of Latin music, of all type of different music. So for somebody to try to take one nationality, try to take credit, I don't really see it that way. I think that everybody had something to do with it. Might have been predominantly black. I definitely agree with that because when I was growing up, most of the dudes I was rapping in high school and DJing and producing beats and all that, majority was black. But when it came to the other side of the hip hop, which was graffiti and the breaking, the B-boys is the ones that used to dress with the Lees, the shell toes, the Pumas. The rappers at the time, remember the rappers at the time was trying to emulate the rock star type look, the leather pants, the spikes. It was a whole
Right. That's like
different.
how Melly Mel and them were dressing.
Right. We talking about late 70s, early. So their vibe was a different clothing vibe, even the style. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Latinos is the ones that had the B-boys, the way the B-boys dress. You know what I mean? It was just it was just a different way. I agree with them. It was 50-50 because if you take all the elements of hip hop, and you say, because you can't just say, oh, it was just rap. No, it's not just rap. Back then, everything was hip hop. You know what I mean? Like you go to Colombia and you go to different countries, it's not just rap. It's hip hop is a culture. They still b-boying over there. They still doing graffiti over there. They still doing rap in Latin America. They still doing that. So they still following what the pioneers did with hip hop. So, I don't know. That's a hard question. I mean, it would be a great question to ask like people that were there, like the Cold Crush or Melly Mel or different of those artists that were there that's still around to this day. That'd be a good question for them. Were Latinos involved from the beginning? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when I interviewed MC Shan, he said that you can't really debate Fat Joe on that because the Bronx is filled with so many Puerto Ricans that it's like, how could you debate that, right? And he was saying, like the fashion part, a lot of the rappers started to dress like the
The B-boys.
B-boys, right?
Right.
So then fashion has been considered like the sixth element of hip hop, or one of those like interchangeable ones. Man, roll a clip.
We stole their style because the graffiti artists dressed like me in LL, right? The B-boys who were the Puerto Ricans dressed like the new generation of rap music. So they talking shit. Tell me shut the fuck up. Tell him Shan said shut the fuck up. Because he really don't know what he talking about. Because like he said, they were doing this, but guess what? We stole their style. That's how Puerto Ricans are part of what this hip hop thing is. Because rappers like myself and LL Cool J, how did the breakdancers dress? They dressed in them sweatsuits, them goddamn Pumas and them Adidas. Did they or did they not?
Yeah, they did.
Any rapper that came before Run DMC dressed in all that crazy ass Melly Mel and all that shit with the fucking, I love Mel and them, but we wasn't dressing like them niggas. We don't fucking wear them boots that Mel and them, all the fur fucking collars and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? All the spiky belts and all that rich shit. We wasn't rocking with them like that. And so who do we rock with? We rock with the style that the B-boys was rocking with. That's where the Kangos came from. That's where the sweatsuits came from. That's where the Pumas and the Adidas with the fat laces came from. And so for somebody to try and separate the Puerto Rican and black aspect of hip hop, you're wrong, son.
So that's definitely something that he
But
had brought up.
the first ones that really started dressing like us was Run DMC. Like when you look at Run DMC, when they first came out, you look at some of the pictures that when they first came out, and they got weird sweaters on, they dressed like Letterman jackets. They it's just a whole different vibe to Jam Master Jay. You see all of a sudden when he starts with the leather blazers and the Lees and the shell tops and all that. That's when the B-boy, most of the rappers now started changing up their style too. You know what I mean?
When you looked at the audience though, like, cause you went to like park jams, right?
Yeah. But it depends where you went. Like when I was in the Bronx, it was predominantly Spanish in a lot of areas. You know what I mean? Like Fordham Road and different places where you went to, it was predominantly Latino. And wherever you went, and like at one point, bro, the Bronx was like Puerto Rico, little San Juan. You know what I mean? It depends until you went to like the projects or certain areas. Then it was more black integrated, but Fordham, South Bronx was mostly Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying? So it just depends what area. Well, like when I used to go to Martin Luther King High School and we went to see oh man, it was if I believe it was Bismarcky and DMX, but not DMX the rapper. It was DMX the beatboxer. He used to be down with a crew from the Bronx. Was it Mantronics? I can't remember, but it was a beatbox battle. And the predominantly it was maybe like 10 of us that was Spanish. Everybody else was black at the hip hop shows in Yonkers. Yonkers, the majority of the shows was all black.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just the majority of the area. Now if you go as time went on, more and more, remember there was a lot of different immigration that came through. First you had the whole a lot of Salvadorians came over there. Um, then out of nowhere, the Dominicans started coming in. So little by little, every year that transgressed, more and more Latinos started coming into the neighborhoods, and you see the change in the schools and the neighborhoods because more and more Latins started moving into Yonkers. But in the beginning, it was predominantly black.
I think the issue with this specific topic is just like the semantics, right? Are we talking contributions over the years? Or are we talking about the creation at the very beginning of hip hop? So that's like where like people when they talk about it, they mean different things when they're saying it.
I mean, like I said, for somebody to talk about, like all of us could talk about it, but if none of us were there, we're only assuming. That's why I said that would be a great question. But like if you go into like the movies, what was the movie? The first graffiti movie. Damn, Style Wars. In Style Wars, you see when they all line up and they're battling one side, like the Cold Crush brothers and them, they're battling. There's two Spanish brothers in that lineup battling. You know what I mean? So it's like, for people to say that we didn't have any contribution into hip hop, that's kind of like, that's being racist. At the end of the day, that's just being a thing that, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's like, a lot of people contributed different elements into what became hip hop, and I think everybody, I think it's like more of a nationality. Hip hop is a nationality, is more of a culture, and I don't think it has a color barrier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because some people argue though that the music, like that, the parties that Latinos were going to at that time, though, wasn't hip hop parties for the like hip hop music. They were going to a different style of music for those parties.
Listen, I went to both. Like I'm gonna keep it real, bro. The way we used to do it when I was growing up, you go to the hip hop to listen to the music you like, and then we would go to the Spanish parties to bag the mommies. That's how I used to. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be real, bro, because you go over there, everybody's listening side to side, everybody's there. See, back then is like you gotta look at it too. Like hip hop at the time, it ain't like you over there grabbing up a chick and dancing with a chick, slow jamming, unless it's that those last songs they play at the school parties and all that they put the slow jams. So you battling dudes, you know what I mean? So when you go to the Spanish party, you get up and you start, it's a different vibe, you know what I mean?
Right,
I don't know if
right.
you get what I'm saying.
No, I get
It's
what you're
just
saying because obviously at that time hip hop was pure and it was more about the lyricism, right? So it wasn't
it
like you
was
were like
definitely about it. And it was about not biting. It was about originality. Everything was a whole different, like, everybody used to go and just represent their neighborhood. They used to go over there with their crew, represent. There was battles, there was fights, whatever. Remember back then it wasn't like it is now. Well, now it's turning into those days. Back then it was more like the street organized gangs, like like the Outlaws, Black Spades. It was different. You go there and you see people with the actual vests, like pardon me, with the cuts, like the biker cuts, or the Outlaws used to have it. So you go to certain parties, you be like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on here? You go to the Bronx, and certain dudes. It was just a different. Hip hop you wasn't going there to bag no chicks. You was going there to listen to what was going on, see what was popping, maybe get into a breakdance battle, and that was it.
was there a lot of girls there
You know what I'm
though
saying?
at those at the hip
There
hop?
was certain girls. There was B girls. Of course, there was B girls there, but it's like you gotta understand. It wasn't like it is. Clubs started changing later on. The club
Right,
scene
the
started changing.
commercialization of hip hop is where you
Like
start
when
to see
freestyle, like the freestyle wave came in and stuff like that. That's when you started seeing more and more girls. You know what I'm saying? But in the beginning, you used to go to clubs and it'd be like 70% dudes. Just there to hear what was going on. Remember, it wasn't no dancing. A lot of dudes would just be. Everybody's there waiting for the battles, and then maybe in the crowd there'd be some breakers start breaking. It was different, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not talking about like the older clubs, like when they used to be dancing disco and all that. I'm talking about. Remember back then they used to let us in. We used to go to like 1018 and Studio 54 and certain clubs, and we was only like 15, and they was letting us in. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
it was a different era. You know what I mean? Like we was already trying to be grown up at that time. Roseland, Barnes International. The only thing certain clubs they wouldn't let you in if you had sneakers and stuff. You had to put on your little Playboy shoes and your little, little silk shirt with the, you know what I mean? No, that's serious. It was Playboy shoes. I'm not even making it a. They were Playboy shoes. It was the leather shoes with the Playboy on it, and the shirts with Chance the Baron. They used to be the Chance the Baron shirts with the big collar joints.
Right.
And you couldn't get into certain clubs without those. So it was like, I don't know, it was just different, bro. Like, and then they started playing hip hop in certain clubs. Remember, we going to clubs at like 15, 14. That's when I first started experiencing New York City. You know what I mean? Coming from grabbing on the train, you jump on 242nd Street, boom, you take the train downtown. There's a mob of us going in. And that we used to get in. Some of us couldn't get in, some of us did. If not, we just hang out on the corner all night and wait for everybody to come out, and then we get on the train and go back home. On the
So
way
let me
home,
ask
you
you
doing
this.
good.
Let me ask you this because I got a bro that is from the Bronx, right? And he's
Okay.
Puerto Rican and he grew up around that time. And he said that there were Latinos, I guess Afro Latinos, that would pass as black and they wouldn't identify as their Latino side a lot of times. So it's like the people that were involved in hip hop, that could be one reason why people would say, like, oh, you know what I mean? Latino contributions aren't as prevalent because some of those brothers were passing as black.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a lot of people that used to not want to. I don't know. It was weird. Like, you know what it is? Like, honestly, in high school, you used to have the Hicks. Like, I don't know if you know what a Hick is. Like these dudes that come from overseas, from their country. It could be from Puerto Rico. It could be from Santo Domingo, and they would be Hicks. It's like country bunkins, and we wouldn't fuck with them because they wasn't down. They ain't dressed like us. They ain't talk like us. So, I get that. That maybe they wanted to blend in, and I don't know. Like, I've never denied what I am. You know what I mean? I never. I can't. It's not like I could blend into anybody. I'm stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I get more confused with, Irish or, different things than what I am, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. A lot of people didn't like speaking Spanish back then, you know what I mean? Remember it was everybody was trying to be American, like you ever met, like I've gone through my life sometimes, like, the Spanish person that tries to talk to you in English, but the English is so fucked up that you keep trying to talk to them in Spanish, but they don't want to speak Spanish to you. They keep trying to speak they fucked up English. And I'm like, bro, I'm talking to them in Spanish and they will
because they gotta
not.
practice it though, bro. They gotta practice it.
No, but
You
I'm
know what
just,
I
I'm
mean?
making an example. Like some people just
Right.
wanted to be so American that they wanted to, like, I didn't really speak Spanish like that. Like my mom always spoke Spanish to us when we was kids. Like we always, but like in the street, I never used Spanish. It was more of like an English slang. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Right.
unless somebody would be like, "Oh, you a white boy," and then I'd be like, "White boy," and then when I start speaking Spanish, it'd be like, "Oh, but you're not Puerto Rican because you don't speak Puerto Rican. You speak a little." Well, nah, I never said I was Puerto Rican. No, but you act Puerto Rican. I'm like, bro, I don't know what acting Puerto Rican is. I'm just me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's how it was back then, It was a different time.
Yeah, most definitely, man.